we need to talk. Okay, this feels like telling someone that you're putting their dog down. This is really not nice. I don't care if you're the biggest Messi lover in the world. Genuinely, I don't care. If you like Messi, therefore you like football. And if you like football, therefore you like Ronaldo. Even if you don't respect him as a person, if you don't like his personality, okay, that's fine, I guess. But in pure terms of football, he's one of the greatest of all time. He's one of the best to ever do it. He's offered so much in the past and has offered so much to football. It feels like we're witnessing we're witnessing our dog that's getting of age now, and now we just know that it's not long left until you've got to, that doesn't mean punch a dog, by the way. That means putting it down. Ronaldo right now is the Labrador in Molly and Me. And I will say no more about that because I will cry like I've cried the 5 times I've watched that film. It's so sad. Straight away, tell me down below in the comments, where are you standing with Ronaldo in terms of his treatment? Has he gone too far? Has he been held back to leave the club because he saw this coming? Or are you on the side of he's a paid employee of Manchester United and that he signed a contract? It's his job to fulfill that contract. And that no player is bigger than the club, which it does feel like, in his sense, that he does feel like he is bigger than the club. Tell me your thoughts down below, and I do apologise if your dog's been put down recently and I've brought back bad memories. Mine was 10 years ago, if that helps, on 2 days before Christmas. Anyway, enough about dead dogs. Cheapest and most reliable coins on FIFA 23. Then go down below to use them and buy. Top link in description, and make sure to use code Vizeh for 5% off. So in the background, this is the clip of Ronaldo's walking off the field around the 87th, 88th minute of the Manchester United Spurs game, and it kind of looked like he was just walking down, and that he's just gonna go warm up or whatever, and he just kind of keeps walking. And at the time of when this happened, most people just thought that, obviously he's been allowed to. Obviously there's a reason why. Maybe he's picked up an injury. Maybe he sprained something. There's a reason why he's just kept walking. And then it's at this point that people realise that he's just walking off the pitch. And at the time, no one knew the reason why of this. Maybe he was allowed. Maybe because, maybe he's just going down. Maybe he's got family reasons. Maybe he's been told something. A lot could happen. If you look at Ronaldo's stats this year, it kind of shows of a player like Cristiano Ronaldo, who, to be fair, there isn't really a player like Ronaldo. The only person who has a similar ego to him that I could compare him to is as Zlatan. That is really it. A player of the ego of him, which is all about legacy. Ronaldo is all about legacy. That's all he stands for. And that all he wants for the end of his career is to have the most goals scored ever, the most Champions League goals scored ever, to break every single record possible so that in the future, no one can beat his record and he will forever be known as the best footballer of all time by scoring all these goals and by having all these records. That is what Ronaldo is all about. And right now, it feels like he's being wasted, and that his career, as he knows, as he's 37, he's not got too long left at the top level, and there's a reason why he keeps himself in such tip-top conditioning, which most pros can't, because they can't handle that level of discipline. The discipline that Ronaldo has is beyond really any footballer I've ever seen. I mean, Messi is doing very good at the age of 34, 35 almost, but will it be the same at 37? Only time can tell, but Ronaldo is still insanely fit and insanely, you could imagine him still playing for another 4 or 5 years. Maybe not at top Champions League level, maybe, but you could definitely guarantee that he would try. And looking into the stats here, of course, so far this season, 8 games played, only 2 starting, which I believe they've both been in the Europa League games. Scoring only 1 goal, creating no big chances, and he's had no big chances missed, I guess, if that means something. Shots per game, 2. Goals per game, 0.1. It's really bad. This was the actual stats as well. He had a decent back-to-back games, Everton and Omnia, and then started next game against Omnia and didn't score. And then for Newcastle game, he started that one. He got given a chance there, and they ended up drawing a game because of it, which is what was quite a poor game. Next game against Spurs, he doesn't play. He doesn't even get off the bench, and that they win against Spurs. And pretty much all the games that he played for Man United, they didn't play too well when he was on the pitch. Brentford somehow got a 7.2, but I don't think there's really much shown for that game whatsoever. Clearly, Erik ten Hag has entered a situation which it was more about Ronaldo than it was Manchester United, and that he has to stand down the rest of the players, saying that no player is bigger than the club, which is completely true, and that if you're a Manchester United fan, ideally, whose side do you want to be here, and you want to be on Erik ten Hag's side, clearly. And as we later found out, Ronaldo walking down the tunnel was something that was not allowed by Erik ten Hag. Apparently, according to other rumours, that he already left the stadium before the full-time whistle was already blown. And this isn't the first time he's done this. Remember that in the pre-season game, back then, he also left the game early and left the stadium early, which is, apparently he wasn't the only one, to be fair to it. He wasn't the only one that did that on that day. But even still, if it's him or the other players, it's still... it's truly unprofessional, even at Sunday league level. When you play with your mates on a awful pitch and that it's raining and windy, you don't really just leave the game early. You don't. It's just not a right thing to do, because instantly you play, even your teammates would think that bit of a just left us all and didn't say bye or whatever else, especially if you're losing. And for further proof that this was not allowed and that Erik ten Hag didn't tell him to do that and he just did it anyway, there's been an official statement by the club that Ronaldo will not be part of the team for the game this weekend against Chelsea, and most likely, maybe even longer than that he may be missing from the team. Some people may be saying that this is blown over proportion, that him leaving the game a couple of minutes early isn't that deep, but I think it's much more about how you represent yourself and how if you are someone like Ronaldo, who's such a high figurehead of the club, it's not a good example, especially to the younger lads as well. They'll be watching him and absolutely be looking up to him and seeing him leave the game and almost disrespect his own teammates. Not even the manager, but the teammates. It is disrespectful, and it should be something that they should stamp their foot on. And this is Ronaldo's statement that he put up on Instagram, and I just want to read it through with you guys here. I'll kind of just go through the kind of most basic points. So, as I've always done throughout my career, I try to live and play respectfully towards my colleagues, my adversaries, and my coaches. That hasn't changed. I haven't changed. I'm the same person and the same professional that I've been for the last 20 years, playing elite football, and respect has always played a very important role in my decision-making process. I started very young. The older and most experienced players' examples were always very important to me. Therefore, later on, I've always tried to set the example myself for the youngsters that grew in all the teams that I've represented. Unfortunately, that's not always possible, and sometimes the heat of the moment gets the best of us. I guess he's trying to say that he got annoyed and in the heat of the moment he just walked off. I mean, he's not really apologising, especially later on when it says, giving in is the pressure is not an option. It never was. This is Manchester United and United we must stand. His actions isn't matching his words. I mean, he wanted to leave the club, and I kind of understand why he wanted to leave the club, because he knew that this would happen. He knew that he wouldn't be a main starter, and he knew that that would jeopardise what he wanted to do for his career, for his legacy, and that he knows that he will just become a bench player and a European rotational player, which is definitely not Ronaldo is about, and that's definitely not how he wants his career to end. Not career to end, but I guess his Manchester United career. I still think that after this, he'll get a move to a team in the Champions League, if it's a Sporting Lisbon, and maybe he just has to take whoever he could take, go to a team in France, go to a team, go to a Marseille or something. I don't know. He has to go somewhere. He has to be a starter somewhere. And what is the exact reason of why he couldn't get that move in the summer? No one officially really knows. Did the club get in the way? Did literally no one want him? Did he get priced out? Did teams just simply not be able to afford him? Is it Ronaldo's fault? Maybe he kept on wanting to have the highest wages. There's a couple of reasons that could be at fault here on both sides, and I don't think anyone fully knows the fine details of exactly why he stayed and why he wasn't either allowed to move or why no one really wanted him, because a lot of teams, it can become a big meme that Ronaldo was simply just not wanted by anyone. Now, dropping Ronaldo isn't enough. We need to release Cristiano Jr. from the academy. I mean, well, what did the kid do? That's actually quite a funny tweet, to be fair. That actually is quite funny. So the question is anyone on Ronaldo's side? Like, genuinely, are you still on his side? Because I feel like he's had enough chances here. I understand from his perspective of Ronaldo's of why he's frustrated and why he doesn't want to be in a situation and why he feels like he's wasting his finer years in his life, because again, the man is all about legacy. I mean, look at this here. Most goals scored ever. Ronaldo is top of it with 813 goals. And that is all the goals that he scored. And he's currently only 50 ahead of Messi. Messi has 3 years on him. So Messi could, in theory, get the better of Ronaldo in a situation, technically. This is what he cares about. He cares about getting this number as high as possible, as high as humanly possible, so that no one else could even compete. That's what Ronaldo's all about. That literally is what he wants. And that he wants to be playing football, if it's in Portugal, if it's in the MLS, just to keep scoring goals as much as possible. Literally. In Champions League, 140 goals. He wants to keep that number going because Messi's still behind him. And even Messi, if Messi overlaps him, then that's game over. That's Ronaldo's kind of legacy as the best footballer ever. Even though, like, me personally, Messi's the better footballer. Like, he is. But doesn't mean that I don't think Ronaldo's great either. We're all big boys, eh? We're all grown men. Okay, we're all adults. We can all agree that Messi is definitely better than Ronaldo. Unless if you're a speed fanboy or something, which is kind of funny. It's just that the worst part is that the fans that would back him the most is Manchester United fans. Even when he was at Real Madrid the entire time, it was still United fans that almost love Ronaldo almost more. And the worst part is that legacy is now being almost tainted. Like, that's kind of almost being destroyed here, which is the worst part of it all. That the kind of legacy of Ronaldo, Man United, the way that this is ending is almost destroying everything. So, yeah, man, it's a big shame. It's a big shame, man, because it looks like, for me, I would like to see Ronaldo get a move in January. I want him to go to a team in Europe. If it's in Portugal or France or Netherlands or back to Italy, I don't care. I don't want him still at Man United. I kind of am bored of... if you're a Man U fan, you also should want him to leave just so that this kind of noise all the time can finally disappear. The noise isn't good because all it's going to do is add more pressure to the players and to the manager and talk about things that really is not an important because the team is the most important thing. So... yeah, if you're a Manchester United fan, that's what I think you should care about the most. But maybe you may disagree. Tell me your thoughts down below in the comments. And that is the Ronaldo situation. What do you think should happen next? I'll see you guys next time.